As Beatrice left, Amanda touched the dragonfly charm hidden beneath her clothes. "Soon, Mama," she whispered. "Soon they'll all pay for what they did to you." Over the next 2 days, Amanda worked tirelessly while maintaining her fool's facade. During the day, she giggled and played with flowers. But at night… "Anthony," she whispered, sneaking into his room at midnight. "I've been recording everything. Look." She showed him a small device hidden in her grandmother's bag. Every conversation, every threat. Charles talking to Dr. Emeka about increasing doses. Edward discussing inheritance papers. Even Auntie Grace admitting to the gambling debts. "How long have you been doing this?" "Since the moment I arrived. Grandmother taught me, evidence is medicine for justice, but we need more. We need them to confess about our mothers." Anthony's eyes lit up. "The engagement party. They'll be overconfident, drinking, trying to impress the guests. And I'll be the silly fool who asks innocent questions that make them reveal everything," Amanda finished. "But we need help. Someone on the inside who's clean." "Uncle Matthew," Anthony said immediately. "He's been with the family for 40 years. His daughter died in the refinery explosion too. She was an intern your mother was training." The next morning, Amanda, accidentally, bumped into Uncle Matthew in the kitchen. "Oh, sorry, Uncle, clumsy Amanda." She giggled, but pressed a note into his hand. Later, in the garden shed, 3 conspirators met. Amanda, Anthony, who'd managed to wheel himself there secretly, and Uncle Matthew. "My daughter Kemi was only 19, Uncle Matthew said, tears in his eyes. "She was learning accounting from your mother, Amanda. Mrs. Grace O'Kara was going to recommend her for university. Then came the fire." "Help us get justice," Anthony said. "At tomorrow's party we need witnesses. Can you ensure certain journalists are present, people who won't be bought?" "I know just the ones," Uncle Matthew nodded. "And I'll make sure the security cameras are all functioning. Master Charles usually has them turned off during parties." "I've also been switching Anthony's poison with vitamins," Amanda added. "By tomorrow, he should be strong enough to stand briefly. Imagine their shock." "What about your father?" Uncle Matthew asked Amanda. "He's been in hiding, but I know where. Should we—" "Yes," Amanda decided. "He needs to witness this. His conscience might finally make him confess." The evening before the party, Charles and Edward met in the study, unaware that Amanda had planted a recording device during her silly exploration of the house. "After the party tomorrow, it's done," Charles said. "Anthony signs the papers or we increase the dose. The fool bride is perfect. She'll never understand what happened." "What if she causes problems?" Edward asked. "What problems can an imbecile cause? She can barely count to 10. No, our only concern is making sure Anthony doesn't last long enough to produce an heir. Dr. Emeka assures me the new dosage will finish him within a month." Listening from the air vent, Amanda clenched her fists. Tomorrow, she would destroy them all. Meanwhile, Anthony practiced standing in secret, his legs shaking but growing stronger with each attempt. "For you, Mama," he whispered. "I'll stand tall when I expose your killers." The engagement party at the Ike mansion was a spectacle of wealth and deception. Crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows over Lagos's elite, all gathered to witness what Uncle Charles privately called the Fool Circus. Amanda entered on Anthony's arm, wearing a traditional gold dress that made her look deceptively innocent. "Remember," Anthony whispered. "Watch everyone, listen to everything." Amanda giggled loudly. "Pretty lights, so many people. Are they all here to see me?" Chief Ike approached them, his expression kind but worried. "You look beautiful, my dear. How are you feeling, Anthony?" "I'm managing, grandfather." Anthony played up a slight tremor in his hand. "Though these events do tire me." "Perhaps you should rest." Uncle Charles materialized beside them, Dr. Emeka at his side. "We wouldn't want you collapsing during your own engagement party." "I'm fine, Uncle." Anthony's tone was steel beneath silk. "Actually," Dr. Emeka interjected, "I'd like to perform a quick examination. Your color seems off, and your bride mentioned you've been taking alternative treatments." Amanda bounced excitedly. "I make special tea, with flowers and leaves, makes Anthony smile." "How quaint." Dr. Emeka's smile was condescending. But surely you understand, real medicine is needed for serious conditions. Medicine is medicine, Amanda declared. Grandmother said hospital medicine sometimes makes people sicker. She fixed many people doctors couldn't help. Several guests nearby paused their conversations to listen. Uncle Charles's jaw tightened. Your grandmother was a village healer? A woman in expensive lace asked. How fascinating. What kinds of things did she cure? Everything. Amanda spun in a circle, making her dress flare. Poison from bad food, sickness from evil people, even helped women who couldn't have babies. She was like magic. Poison, you say? The woman's husband, a journalist, leaned forward with interest. Could she tell if someone was being poisoned? Oh yes, she taught me the signs. Amanda counted on her fingers. Shaking hands, yellow eyes, weak legs, forgetting things. She said rich people get poisoned most because of money troubles/disputes. The crowd murmured. Several people glanced at Anthony, who was exhibiting some of these symptoms as part of his act. Uncle Charles laughed nervously. What an imagination! Come now, let's not fill our guests' heads with village superstitions. Anthony's condition is well documented by real doctors. Speaking of which, Edward Jr. appeared with Caroline Morrison on his arm. Look who's come to celebrate with us. The well-dressed woman wore a designer dress and her best London accent. Well, well, the village girl in high society, how interesting. Miss Morrison, Amanda approached her enthusiastically, accidentally spilling red wine on the expensive dress. Oops, clumsy Amanda. You stupid. Caroline caught herself, aware of the watching crowd. It's fine. Accidents happen to those who can't help themselves. Yes, accidents happen, Amanda said brightly, her eyes flickering meaningfully to Anthony. Like the accident at the refinery 20 years ago. Boom! Fire! Very sad. The room went quiet. Chief Ike's face paled. Why would you bring that up? Uncle Charles demanded. Oh, because Anthony showed me papers. 2 mommies died same day. His mommy and a mommy with my last name. Isn't that strange? Amanda tilted her head innocently. Beatrice appeared quickly. Forgive her, everyone. She doesn't understand what she's saying. Come, Amanda. No! Amanda pulled away. I want to tell the story. Anthony said his mummy was investigating bad oil deals. That's a big word. It means finding out secrets. That's enough, Uncle Charles said sharply. But the damage was done. The journalists were taking notes, guests whispering. What secrets would those be? A prominent businessman asked Anthony directly. Anthony coughed weakly. My mother believed someone was stealing crude oil and selling it illegally. She died before she could prove it. Along with Grace O'Keery, the journalist added. I remember that case. They were both auditors, weren't they? Working together? Village women shouldn't interfere in big business, Beatrice said quickly. That's why accidents happen. Accidents? Amanda's voice suddenly lost its childish quality for just a moment. Or murder? The word hung in the air like a knife. Amanda quickly giggled and covered her mouth. Oops, wrong word. I meant, what's the word for when someone makes an accident happen? That would still be murder, Anthony said quietly, his eyes fixed on Uncle Charles. Dr. Emeka stepped forward nervously. Perhaps we should give Anthony his medication. All this excitement can't be good for his condition. Yes! Amanda clapped. Medicine time! But wait! She frowned dramatically. Uncle Charles, why do you and the doctor talking in secret when you think no one is watching? Secrets are bad. Charles's face darkened. What nonsense! Yesterday, in the study, you said, increase the dose, and Dr. Mann said, but that could… And then you said, I don't care, I want results. Amanda mimicked their voices childishly but accurately. The crowd stirred uneasily. Chief Ike stepped forward. Charles, what is she talking about? The ramblings of a fool, father. You can't possibly believe… Actually, Anthony interrupted, pulling out his phone with hands that trembled not from poison, but from righteous fury. I think our guests would be interested in something I recorded. He played one of the many audio clips Amanda had helped him collect, and Charles's unmistakable voice filled the stunned silence. Increase the dose, I don't care about side effects, followed by Dr. Emeka's guilty whisper. "But Charles, this could kill him." And Charles's cold response, "That's the point. That's taken out of context," Dr. Emeka stammered. "Is it?" Anthony's voice grew stronger. "Just like the refinery explosion was out of context. Tell me, Uncle, where exactly were you when our mothers died?" "How dare you?" Charles moved toward Anthony, but Amanda stepped between them. "No fighting. Fighting is bad." She then stumbled, her hand brushing against Charles's pocket. A small vial fell out, rolling across the marble floor. Anthony picked it up before anyone else could move. "Interesting, this looks like—" "My heart medication," Charles said quickly. "Really?" Amanda snatched it and opened it before anyone could stop her. She sniffed dramatically. "Funny, smells like the bad medicine that makes people extremely ill. Grandmother called it inheritance powder because greedy people use it to inherit money." "You lying little—" Charles lunged for her, but Uncle Matthew and two other servants blocked him with practiced efficiency. "Sir," Uncle Matthew said with quiet authority, "I believe our guests deserve an explanation about that arsenic compound." The elderly butler's eyes held 40 years of suppressed anger, and for the first time in decades, he wasn't hiding it. The party erupted like a carefully orchestrated symphony of justice. First, the guests closest to Charles stumbled backward in shock, their champagne glasses crashing to the marble floor in a cascade of crystal and fear. Then phones emerged from designer purses and expensive suits as journalists smelled the story of the decade. Security guards moved in from 3 directions like pieces on a chessboard, their heavy footsteps echoing through the suddenly silent mansion, while Amanda stood at the center of it all, tears streaming down her face as 20 years of buried pain finally found its voice. Chief Ike looked between his adopted son and grandson with dawning horror, his worst fears finally confirmed. The sleepless nights when he'd watched Charles hovering over Anthony's medicine, the strange conversations that stopped when he entered rooms, the way his grandson's condition worsened after every family dinner. All the pieces of a nightmare puzzle he'd been too afraid to assemble now crashing together in a moment of devastating clarity that shattered his heart into 1,000 pieces. "It's not what it looks like," Edward Jr. shouted. "My father is being framed by this witch and her brain-damaged bride." "Brain damaged?" Amanda laughed, and this time there was nothing childish about it. "Is that what you tell yourselves to sleep at night? That the daughter of Grace Okere is brain-damaged? That she doesn't remember what you did?" "Amanda," Anthony said softly. She turned to him, tears streaming down her face. "They killed our mothers, Anthony, all for oil money, and they've been poisoning you slowly, just like they planned to poison your grandfather next." "What?" Chief Ike gasped. "Oh yes?" Amanda pulled out one of her recording devices. "Auntie Helen told me everything yesterday when the truth medicine made her chatty. She thought I was too stupid to understand. How they pay her to poison your food. How Charles promised her millions when you die." "That's impossible!" But Auntie Helen's face had gone ashen. "Is it?" Amanda smiled innocently. "This morning's special tea worked perfectly, didn't it, Auntie? Grandmother's truth herbs always make people feel chatty." You drugged me?" Auntie Helen clutched her throat. "The same way you've been drugging Anthony for 2 years. How does it feel?" Amanda's voice was cold now, all pretense gone. "Tell them. Tell everyone what you did." I... Auntie Helen collapsed to her knees. "They said he was dying anyway, that it was merciful. My brother needed help. The gambling debts were killing him and Master Charles promised—" "Shut up!" Charles roared. But Auntie Helen couldn't stop. The truth serum compelled her to continue. 15,000 naira for each dose. Extra bonuses if his condition worsened during board meetings. Charles wanted him weak, dependent, unable to fight back. Just like our mothers were unable to fight back in that locked refinery room. Anthony's voice cracked with years of buried pain as he slowly, painfully, rose from his wheelchair for the first time in 2 years, his legs trembling with the effort, but his heart soaring with the strength Amanda's love had restored to him, shocking everyone in the room into stunned silence. "Did you know, Uncle? When you had your men seal the exits? When you disabled the fire alarms? Did you know my mother was pregnant?" "She was going to name her daughter Hope," Anthony continued, standing tall despite his weakness. But you stole that hope. Stole 2 mothers and an unborn child for your blood money. The revelation hit like thunder. Chief Ike staggered, caught by Uncle Matthew. Chief Ike's voice broke with 20 years of betrayed love. I brought you into this family when you had nothing. I called you son when the world had abandoned you. I trusted you with my business, my grandson's life, my legacy. But you were never truly my son, were you, Charles? You were always just waiting for your chance to destroy everything my real son built. Your real son? Charles snarled. All pretense finally dropped. Always your real son. No matter what I did, how hard I worked, how much I achieved, I was always just the adopted charity case. Well, now your precious real son's bloodline will die with Anthony, and everything will finally be mine by right. 20 years, Charles continued, his face twisted with decades of buried resentment. 20 years I've waited for you to see me as an equal, but every board meeting, every family dinner, every business decision, it was always, when my son was alive, this, and my son would have wanted that. Never Charles the son, always Charles the replacement. Charles the second choice, Charles the charity project who should be grateful for scraps. Chief Ike staggered as if physically struck. Charles, I loved you. I gave you everything. Everything except what mattered, Charles roared. Respect, recognition, the knowledge that I was truly wanted and not just convenient. Your biological son got 60% of the inheritance automatically. What did I get? 20% and a pat on the head for being a good adopted boy. Well, I'm done being grateful for leftovers from my own family's table. The room fell silent except for Chief Ike's broken whisper. My God, what have I done? What monster did I create? You didn't create me, Charles said coldly, his rage spent and replaced by ice. You just showed me that blood is everything in this family, so I decided to spill some blood to get what blood couldn't give me. Chief Ike stood frozen, staring at the man he'd raised as his own son, seeing him clearly for the first time. The room was heavy with the weight of 20 years of lies finally exposed. Even the guests seemed to sense they were witnessing the destruction of a family dynasty built on deception. Charles looked around the room, at the horrified faces, at Anthony standing strong beside Amanda, at his adoptive father's broken expression, and something shifted in his demeanor. The vulnerable wounded son disappeared, replaced by the calculating predator he'd always been underneath. But you still can't prove anything, Charles said, his voice regaining its arrogant edge as he began backing toward the exit. It's been 20 years. Where's your evidence? Where are your witnesses? It's all just accusations and old grievances. Actually, a new voice spoke from the entrance, carrying the weight of 20 years of guilt and 3 days of police negotiations. He can. Everyone turned to see a bandaged man in a wheelchair being pushed by police officers. Mr. O'Carey, who had been watching from the garden through the windows, waiting for the moment when his daughter would need him most, just as he had failed to be there when her mother died. Amanda gasped, "Papa!" Mr. O'Carey looked terrible but alive. "Hello, Amanda, or should I say, Dr. Amanda O'Carey, the ghost doctor of Lagos." The room exploded again. The ghost doctor, the legendary healer who'd saved countless poisoning victims, was this young woman. "Surprise," Amanda said weakly. "I survived the car accident Charles arranged," Mr. O'Carey continued, "just like I survived my guilty conscience. Officers, I'm ready to make my full confession about the refinery murders and everything that followed." "No!" Caroline tried to run, but security blocked her. "Mr. O'Carey, stop! You'll implicate the entire operation. They'll arrest us all." "Good," Mr. O'Carey said firmly. "I'm tired of living with blood on my hands. Charles Ike, Beatrice O'Carey and I conspired to murder Grace O'Carey and Adaise Ike 20 years ago. Caroline Morrison, my former secretary, helped us forge the safety inspection reports and falsify the witness statements. She's been well compensated for her silence ever since. We've been covering it up ever since, and Charles has been slowly poisoning his nephew to secure the family fortune." The police moved in. Charles tried to fight, Edward Jr. attempted to claim ignorance, and Dr. Emeka simply fainted. Caroline Morrison and Beatrice were caught trying to escape through the kitchen, Caroline clutching a briefcase full of falsified documents and offshore account statements. As chaos reigned, Amanda felt Anthony's arms wrap around her. "You beautiful, brilliant fool," he whispered. "You saved me." "We saved each other," she whispered back. "Our mothers can rest now." Chief Ike approached them, tears on his weathered face. "Can you ever forgive me? I was blind to my adopted son's evil. Charles, I treated you as my own flesh and blood. I gave you everything, love, opportunity, respect. And this is how you repay that trust, by murdering my real son's wife and trying to kill his child." "You were deceived, grandfather," Anthony said gently. "We all were, but Amanda helped me see the truth." "The ghost doctor," Chief Ike marveled. "In my own house, healing my grandson while pretending to be simple. Child, I owe you everything." Amanda smiled through her tears. "I learned from my grandmother. Sometimes the best medicine is hidden in plain sight, and sometimes you have to play the fool to catch the wise in their own trap." As the police led the conspirators away, the party guests began to understand they'd witnessed something extraordinary. Not just the exposure of a 20-year murder conspiracy, but the revelation of two young people who'd found each other across tragedy and deception. "So," Anthony said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "do you still want to marry me, even though I'm not really dying?" Amanda laughed, her true laugh free and joyful. "Only if you promise to take your real medicine from now on. No more inheritance powder." "Deal," Anthony said, pulling her close. "But I have one condition." "What's that?" "No more pretending. I want to marry the real you, the brilliant doctor who saved my life while making everyone think she was a fool." "Then you'll have to meet me properly," Amanda said, extending her hand formally. "Dr. Amanda Okere, the ghost doctor of Lagos. Pleased to make your acquaintance." Anthony took her hand and brought it to his lips. "Anthony Ike, soon-to-be CEO of Ike Industries and eternally grateful fool for falling in love with you." The crowd burst into applause, though whether for the romantic moment or the spectacular revelations no one could say. The engagement party had become something else entirely, a celebration of justice finally served. 3 days after the engagement party, the Ike mansion had transformed from a house of secrets to a crime scene. Police tape decorated Uncle Charles's study, investigators catalogued evidence, and journalists camped outside the gates. Amanda sat in the garden with Anthony, preparing his morning medicinal tea with her grandmother's herbs. "The lawyers say it's the biggest corporate conspiracy case in Nigerian history," Anthony said, his voice stronger each day. 20 years of murder, theft, and attempted murder. The trials will take years." "But they're all in custody," Amanda reminded him, adding honey to his tea. "That's what matters. They can't hurt anyone else." "Thanks to you." He caught her hand. "My brilliant ghost doctor, though I still can't believe you fooled everyone, including me at first." "You knew something was different about me from the start," Amanda smiled. "That's why you showed me the investigation files. Part of you recognized the little girl with the dragonfly." Chief Ike approached slowly, looking older but somehow lighter, as if shedding the weight of deception had freed him. "The police want to speak with you again, Amanda, about your father's condition." Amanda sighed. "He's dying. The cancer spread too far while he was living with guilt. The accident just accelerated things. He has maybe a month." "He's asking to see you," Chief Ike said gently. "I know he doesn't deserve your forgiveness, but—" "I'll go," Amanda interrupted. "Not for him, but for my mother. She wouldn't want me to carry hatred in my heart." That afternoon, at Lagos General Hospital, Amanda sat beside her father's bed. The man who'd abandoned her, who'd conspired in murder, looked small and fragile among the white sheets. "Amanda," he wheezed, "my brilliant daughter, the ghost doctor of Lagos. I'm so proud." "Don't," Amanda said quietly. "Don't pretend we have a relationship now that you're dying. I know I failed you, failed your mother." Tears leaked from his eyes. "But I need you to know. Beatrice manipulated me, told me your mother was going to leave me, take you away. Charles promised money, security. I was weak. And Mama died for it. Amanda's voice was steady. Do you know what her last words were, according to the coroner's report? He shook his head. She called for me, her 3-year-old daughter. While she burned to death in that locked room, she called my name. Amanda let her own tears fall. So don't ask for my forgiveness. Ask for hers. I do, every day. He reached out weakly. But I'm glad you survived. Glad you became something magnificent despite us. Your grandmother, she saved more than your life. She saved your soul. Amanda took his hand briefly. Rest, Papa. Make peace with God. I'll make sure you're buried beside Mama, if that's what you want. That's more than I deserve. Thank you. As she left the hospital, Amanda found Anthony waiting with Uncle Matthew in the car. How was it? Anthony asked. Harder than pretending to be a fool, she admitted. But necessary. Healing isn't just about the body. Sometimes the soul needs medicine too. That evening, Amanda found herself in Anthony's study, helping him review company documents. The board had unanimously voted him as CEO, and the transition required careful attention. You don't have to do this, Anthony said as she organized files. You're not my secretary. No, I'm your future wife and a doctor who understands that stress is bad for recovering patients. She paused at one document. Besides, someone needs to make sure there are no more hidden poison pills in these contracts. I don't want to wait, Anthony said suddenly. Amanda looked up from the papers. Wait for what? For our wedding. I don't want to wait for trials to end or drama to settle. I want you to be my wife, officially, legally, forever. This week. Amanda laughed. This week? Anthony, that's fast, yes, but we've already lost 20 years. Amanda set down the papers. Anthony, I know it's fast, but we've already lost 20 years. Our mothers died thinking their children would never meet again. I don't want to waste another day. He wheeled closer. He still used the chair when tired, though he could walk now. Marry me, Amanda. Let's show them all that love wins over greed. A small ceremony? Amanda asked. Just family and close friends. Whatever you want. Big, small, traditional, modern. I don't care as long as you say yes. Amanda knelt beside his chair, taking his hands. Then yes. Yes to marriage, yes to love, yes to finishing what our mothers started. But I have one condition. Anything. We name our first daughter Hope, for the child your mother never got to have. Anthony pulled her into his arms. Deal. Hope Adaise Grace Ike, for both our mothers. That's a lot of names, Amanda laughed through her tears. She'll need them all. The daughter of the ghost doctor and an oil prince, she'll be legendary. 3 days later, in the mansion's garden, they exchanged vows. Chief Ike officiated, Uncle Matthew served as witness, and only a handful of trusted friends attended. Amanda wore her grandmother's wedding dress, altered to fit. Anthony stood tall without his wheelchair, proof of her healing. Do you, Anthony Ike, take this woman to be your wife, knowing she once convinced all of Lagos she was a fool? Chief Ike asked with a smile. I do, especially because of that, Anthony grinned. And do you, Dr. Amanda O'Carey, the ghost doctor of Lagos, take this man to be your husband, knowing he comes with a complicated family history and a multimedia company? I do, Amanda said. I've handled worse. As they kissed, a dragonfly landed on their joined hands, a sign perhaps that their mothers were watching and approving. The reception was simple but joyful. No poisoned wine, no hidden agendas, just two people who'd found love through loss and justice through deception. So what now? Amanda asked as they danced. We're married, the criminals are in jail, the company is yours, what's next? Now, Anthony said, spinning her gently, we build the life our mothers wanted. Use the company for good, maybe fund some medical clinics in villages, train more healers like your grandmother. The Adaise Grace Foundation, Amanda suggested, for victims of corporate crime and children who've lost parents to violence. Perfect, see? We make a good team. We always did, Amanda reminded him. Even when I was pretending to be a fool and you were pretending to be dying. The best relationships are built on mutual deception, Anthony joked. Former deception, Amanda corrected. Now we're just boringly honest. A CEO and a doctor, how ordinary. Never ordinary, Anthony said, pulling her closer. Not when the doctor can cure any poison and the CEO survived 2 decades of attempted murder. We're extraordinary. As if in agreement, another dragonfly joined the first, and together they danced in the air above the couple, carrying 20 years of prayers finally answered. 6 months after their garden wedding, Amanda stood in the boardroom of Ike Industries, presenting to international investors. Gone was the giggling fool. In her place stood Dr. Amanda Ike, co-founder of the Adai's Grace Foundation and revolutionary voice in Nigerian healthcare. Traditional medicine and modern science aren't enemies, she explained to the assembled executives. My grandmother knew how to cure poisons that modern hospitals couldn't identify. By combining her knowledge with contemporary research, we've developed treatments that have saved over 300 lives in 6 months. Anthony watched from his CEO chair, pride radiating from every pore. His recovery had been complete. No wheelchair, no tremors, no weakness. The man who'd been dying was now vibrant with life and purpose. The Foundation's mobile clinics have reached 12 villages, Amanda continued. We're training local healers in modern diagnostic techniques while learning their traditional remedies. It's not charity, it's preservation of invaluable medical knowledge. James Harrison, the American investor, whose timely intervention had helped expose the conspiracy, raised his hand. Dr. Ike, what about scalability? Can this model work beyond Nigeria? Absolutely. Every culture has traditional healing wisdom. In China, it's TCM. In India, Ayurveda. In Native American communities, plant medicine. We're not replacing hospitals. We're bridging gaps. After the presentation, the board voted unanimously to fund the Foundation's expansion. As the room emptied, Anthony pulled Amanda into his arms. You were magnificent. Grandmother would be proud. She is proud, Amanda said softly. I feel her sometimes, especially when I'm working with the herbs, like she's guiding my hands. Speaking of guidance, Anthony's hand moved to her still flat stomach. How's our little Hope doing? Amanda smiled. According to this morning's test, she's perfect, though I think it might be he. Really? Grandmother always said boys make you crave bitter things. I've been eating bitter leaf soup for weeks. Then we'll name him Joshua. It means God saves. Appropriate, don't you think? Months passed. The trials concluded with life sentences for Charles and Beatrice, 25 years for Dr. Emeka, 15 for Edward Jr., and 10 for Caroline. Auntie Helen got 8 years but was enrolled in a rehabilitation program Amanda had pushed for. Mr. Okere died peacefully in his sleep, his last words a prayer for forgiveness. Amanda buried him beside her mother as promised, finally reuniting them in death. The Foundation grew exponentially. Villages that had suffered mysterious illnesses, often from illegal chemical dumping by oil companies, received free treatment. Traditional healers shared knowledge preserved for centuries. Lives were saved daily. On a warm evening in December, Amanda went into labor. Anthony held her hand through 18 hours, whispering encouragement and love. When Joshua Adai's Okere Ike finally arrived, he had his mother's intelligent eyes and his father's determined chin. He's perfect, Anthony whispered, cradling his son. Of course he is, Amanda smiled tiredly. He comes from survivors. Chief Ike, now a devoted grandfather, visited daily. Uncle Matthew, promoted to Foundation Director, spoiled the baby shamelessly. Even Joy Adebayo, Carolyn's daughter, who'd become their most dedicated nurse, brought handmade gifts. 1 year later, at Joshua's naming ceremony, Amanda stood before hundreds of guests, villagers they'd helped, executives who'd invested, journalists who'd followed their story, and families whose children lived because of the Foundation. They tried to make me a fool, she said, holding Joshua while Anthony wrapped his arms around them both. They tried to make my husband a corpse. They thought money mattered more than justice, that power came from poison rather than purpose. They were wrong. She looked at the sky where 2 dragonflies circled lazily. Our mothers died seeking truth. Today, their grandson lives in a world where that truth has triumphed, where traditional wisdom meets modern medicine, where love conquers greed, where even fools can become heroes if they're brave enough to pretend until the pretense becomes power. The ghost doctor of Lagos was born from tragedy, Anthony added, but she lives for hope. Every patient healed, every village helped, every child saved. They're all testimony that good exists, that justice prevails, that love endures. Chief Ike raised his glass. To Adais and Grace, who gave their lives for truth. To Amanda and Anthony, who risked their lives for justice. And to Joshua, who will live his life in freedom. May the dragonflies always dance above our family. To the dragonflies, everyone echoed. Years would pass. Joshua would grow strong and brilliant. The foundation would become a global model. Anthony would transform Ike Industries into Nigeria's most ethical company. Amanda would save thousands more lives, teaching the perfect blend of traditional wisdom and modern medicine. But this night, as Joshua's naming ceremony continued under stars and dragonflies, they were simply a family born from ashes, built on truth, and blessed by love. The ghost of two murdered mothers could finally rest. Their children had not just survived, they had triumphed. And in that triumph, Nigeria itself found hope that justice could prevail, that love could conquer, that even the greatest deceptions could yield the most beautiful truths. The ghost doctor and the oil prince, the fool and the dying heir, Amanda and Anthony. Their story would be told for generations, inspiring others to fight for truth, to seek justice, to believe in love. But for now, they simply held their son and each other, grateful for the journey that brought them home. As the evening ended and guests departed, Anthony whispered to Amanda, "No more pretending. No more pretending," she confirmed. "Just living. I love you, my brilliant fool. I love you, my dying prince." They laughed, kissed, and carried Joshua inside, where 3 dragonfly charms hung above his crib, one old and worn, one newly made, and one that had appeared mysteriously the day he was born. The ghosts were at peace, the living were at joy, and the future stretched bright with possibility, painted in shades of justice, healing, and hope. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story and its message, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss out on more great stories like this one.